Good morning, Trump's family. Have a great Friday, everyone. Thank you for always watching and subscribing to the channel. Alright, without further ado, let's get into the news. And it looks like the FBI is just now going to kidnap journalists who are critical of the regime. Journalists who are writing books about the regime. Those journalists need to be kidnapped and put in some gulag that we have not heard back from these journalists. Recently, the FBI raided a journalist home, took the journalists with them in some unmarked cars, and that journalist has not been seen since or heard from. This as the jackboots of the Biden regime. These are the stop Cs that are going out there. Their brown shirts are working to silence their critics. This is what this looks like. And it's a full blessing of the Biden regime. They know what they're doing. This is why they went after Project Veritas when Ashley Biden's diary was sold, and they went to arrest the Project Veritas people, because they cannot let the truth of Baptist's regime to be let out into the open. And so this is what we're seeing. We're seeing an attack on democracy, as the media would say, because that's what it is, right? It's just a tobacco democracy. They're arresting journalists. I don't know. It only matters if it's a Republican talking down or talking mean or giving truthful answers to a reporter that they think's a direct attack on democracy. This is perfectly okay. To journalists. Yeah, that's fine. It's fine. Democrats can murder journalists. Democrats can kidnap journalists. That's okay. Remember what happened to that guy who made a YouTube video that the Democrat Party blamed on Benghazi? That guy was swept away and never heard from again. I've yet to hear from whatever happened to that dude. That dude's probably who knows where that guy is, probably don't even live anymore. That is how crazy this stuff becomes. So let's go and dive into it. It says ABC employee who was writing the book on Biden was surprise raided by the feds and suddenly went missing. That's right. So Warrant Radar Online is reporting that former employee at ABC News has reportedly been missing for 6 months after the FBI mysteriously and abruptly raided his home. RadarOnline.com has learned James Gordon Meek, who previously served as a news network investigative producer, had been missing since April, when the FBI raided his apartment in Arlington, Virginia. Meek reportedly left his position to ABC News abruptly, backed out of a book he was previously writing about Joe Biden in August 2021 at withdrawal from Afghanistan, and has kept a low profile ever since the raid 6 months ago. He resigned abruptly and hasn't worked for us in months. A spokesperson for the new network told Daily Mail, when asked about the 52-year-old investigative journalist's disappearance. According to the Rolling Stone, who first reported on the FBI raided the former ABC News employee's subsequent disappearance, Meek was purportedly suspected of possessing classified documents on his personal computer. Eugene Gorkov, Meek's lawyer, recently revealed he knew nothing about any alleged classified documents in his client's possession. Gorkov also argued that any documents that Meek's possession should be within the scope of his career as an investigative journalist. Mr. Meek is unaware of the allegation analysis sources are making about his possessions of classified documents. His lawyer said if such documents exist as claimed, this would be within the scope of Mr. Meek's long career as an investigative journalist covering government wrongdoing. Pressing queries on the issue are troubling for a different reason. They appear to be based on statements from a source inside the government. The lawyer said it's highly inappropriate and illegal for individuals in the government to leak information about ongoing investigation. Meek's neighbor who witnessed a raid on his Arlington apartment told Rolling Stone the entire operation lasted about 10 minutes. A large armored vehicle company by County Patrol Cars report they pulled up to the apartment building before quickly departing shortly after. They didn't stick around. They took off pretty quickly, headed west on Columbia Pike towards Fairfax County. Meek's neighbor John Ontolani said, most people seeing the green vehicle would think it is some kind of tank, but I knew it was a linked Bearcat. So the question many will have is, did this man get spooked and go into hiding, or did he leave of his own free will because he had done something going or had something going on? Is this a one of the most people are probably landing on? Was this man removed from his home against his will? Anyway, again, lots of questions still remain about the missing journalist at the FBI raided because of his work on the Biden regime, withdrawal of Afghanistan, and all of the disastrous things that took place during that. And this is some big news. I will never be lectured about virtue, about honesty and integrity from any Hollywood hack. I mean, it's so funny the way all these Hollywood Los Angeles clowns are always standing atop their ivory tower looking down at us, telling us why we're backwards and deranged and abnormal. These Hollywood clowns who literally exist in the most degenerate pit of despair known to mankind, trying to lecture us about virtue. Give me a break, please. Oh, Donald Trump, this and Donald Trump that. Meanwhile, they're all sucking up to Harvey Weinstein and the rest of these despicable characters. And isn't it funny how those who virtue signal the most, those who put on this facade and this image of being such wonderful, kind people, always end up being exposed as the biggest hacks and being absolutely terrible people behind closed doors, behind the scenes. But once again, we have a perfect example of that. It started off with Ellen DeGeneres, and it was Chrissy Teigen, and this time, it's James Corden who's getting exposed, that yet again, another Hollywood jerk. Let me show you. It's possible that this is also a continuation of the Trump curse. Alright folks, take a look at this Trump-hating comedian James Corden, temporarily banned at New York City restaurant for his, quote, rude and abusive behavior. First of all, the idea that James Corden is a comedian is comical within itself. The guy's not funny. He's just flamboyant and playing a character. He's completely void of any intellect, any depth, any wit whatsoever. But anyways, it's another topic entirely. Let's try to stick on what's going on here. British comedian and Trump hater James Corden was banned from a famous restaurant in New York City on Monday for his rude and abusive behavior with staff. James Corden, who hosts The Late Late Show on CBS, was temporarily banned from entering New York's Belt Azar restaurant in Soho, Manhattan, after the owner said that he was abusive to his staff over an order mistake. The restaurant owner, Keith McNally, in New York City, posting to his Instagram, James Corden is a hugely gifted comedian, but a tiny cretin of a man and the most abusive customer to my Belt Azar servers since the restaurant opened 25 years ago. I don't often 86 a customer, but today I 86 Corden. It did not make me laugh. Here are two examples of the funny man's treatment of my staff managers. Report number 1. In June, James Corden was here on table 61. Although this is diabolical, it happens very occasionally in all restaurants. After eating his main course, Cord and showed the hair to both as our manager G, who was extremely apologetic. Corden was extremely nasty to GE and said, "Get us another round of drinks this second, and also take care of all of our drinks so far. This way I write any nasty reviews on Yelp or anything like that." James Corden finds a hair in his drink, starts becoming incredibly rude and demeaning, and says, "Give us free drinks moving forward, and don't charge us for any of our previous drinks." And he says, "Do it or else I'll leave a bad Yelp review." Well, what a nice, virtuous guy. This is the friendly face in Hollywood who's been ragging on Donald Trump and Trump supporters being such terrible people for the past 6 years straight. I mean, I understand the sentiment, but there's a way to go about something. I've been in restaurants in similar situations where they overcook my steak, or there's something wrong with my meal. And I've even suggested in the past, usually I do it in a joking manner. Something like, "Oh, it's okay, so I guess the next round is free," or something like that. And in many cases, restaurant owners will replace your meal free of charge, they'll give you some drinks, they'll have the proper response, customer comes first. There's a way to do it without being arrogant, without being forceful, trade a blackmailing, or threatening the restaurant owner with a baddie Yelpers, but clearly James Corden doesn't understand this. He's an entitled Hollywood brat who thinks the world revolves around him, who thinks he's so much more important than everybody else, a telltale sign of just a bad person. Let's continue on here. Manager report number 2. James Corden was at the Balthazar with his wife on October 9 for brunch. His wife, okay, he asked for a table outside brunch. Maitre d' Walters took the party to table 301. Mr. Corden's wife ordered an egg yolk omelette with Greek air cheese and a salad. A few minutes after they received the food, James called their server, and told her that there was a little bit of egg white mixed with the egg yolk, and informed the floor manager Cheat the Kitchen remade the dish, but unfortunately sent it with home fries instead of a salad. That's when James Corden began yelling like crazy to the server, "You can't do your job. You can't do your job, and maybe I should go into the kitchen, cook the omelette myself." And was very apologetic and brought G over to the table. He returned the dish, and after that everything was fine. He gave them a promo champagne glasses to smooth things out. G said the Corden was pleasant to him but nasty to the server, and was very shaken, but the professional that she is continued to finish her shift. And well, of course you might be thinking that this is just some petty stuff, which clearly it is. It gives us a glimpse into who these Hollywood clowns really are. You know, These Robert De Niro type people going after Donald Trump as being such a villain, such a bad guy. But then these stories are released over and over and over again. Who the hell are you to lecture us about virtue? And it's funny because they're always attacking Donald Trump as being an angry, mean billionaire. But when you do the comparison, I mean, Donald Trump is more famous than these people. He's richer. He's more successful. And across the board, Donald Trump's interactions with working class people, with servers, with people in general, everyone always says the same thing, that he's nothing but nice, he's friendly, he's funny, and he tips well. Then you see these Hollywood hacks, who frankly, aren't 1/10 of what Donald Trump is. And they have these inflated, terrible egos. They're arrogant, they're pompous, and they treat working class people like crap, and they have the audacity to lecture you about who you should vote for, and to make claims that you're a bad person for supporting a specific person. Of course, we know exactly what's going on with these Hollywood weirdos. Do you have sensitive emotional culture issues? They use politics as a manipulative tool to gain a favor. It's nothing but cloud chasing. I mean, for Pete's sakes, not exactly surprising. Considering cloud is really the strongest currency of Los Angeles. It basically is the currency in LA. They don't use USD, they use cloud. It's a bunch of cloud chasing demons. And it's why it's so incredibly hypocritical and ironic the way they think that they're in a position to virtue signal and lecture us about anything. I don't ever want to hear it, never. I mean, the constant hypocrisy coming out of Hollywood just reaches unbelievable levels. Years and years of #MeToo, coming from all the same people who were buddy-buddy with Harvey Weinstein for decades. Oh, I didn't know what we didn't know. It was an open secret. Everybody knew. They all knew, they just didn't care until they could farm social clout from the #MeToo movement. Then they're fully willing to throw the guy under a bus and try to make the whole thing about them. And funnily enough, this is being recorded this week. Newsom's wife emailed Harvey Weinstein asking for help in handling the Democrat governor's cheating fiasco, the Hollywood elite, the celebrity class, and the Democrat politicians. They're all part of the same crew. They're all part of that liberal elitist crew. They wear virtue and compassion as a damn costume. But when it really comes down to it, everything they accuse others of always ends up being more true about themselves than anyone else. It's nothing but pure projection, manipulation, nothing but playing little political games. But just to wrap this up, the Trump curse continues. Its latest victim is James Corden. Hopefully this guy falls out of favor. He's as fake gets it, man. If this guy is gone by the end of the year, and 2022 really is going to be the year of cleaning house of all of these fake woke media losers. Thank you very much. WWG1WGA. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button to watch the next episode.